Every year, thousands of people in Ireland are criminalised simply for using drugs. But criminalisation doesn't stop drug use. It fuels stigma, fractures families, and it overwhelms our courts. And it actually makes it harder for people to reach out for the help they need. The Citizens' Assembly said it. Ireland must decriminalise drug use. Now we need politicians to act. We'll have safer streets where Garda can focus on violent crimes, not personal use. We'll have stronger families where we'll have no more trauma of courts and prisons, and healthier communities. Support, not punishment, saves lives.
Probably the strongest reason for ending the policy of criminalising people for using drugs is basically that it doesn't work. We have a policy that doesn't work. And I do understand, like, people think, well, if we criminalise people, then it's a deterrent. And that by ending criminalisation, that means the levels of drug use are going to go up and the harms related to drug use are going up. But in fact, all of the evidence we have shows that that doesn't actually happen. And this is evidence that's drawn across the world that levels of drug use, they're not actually determined by the severity of laws. The levels of drug use are determined by a whole range of other factors, cultural, social, economic, at different times in different areas. And that applies again both to individuals and to communities. Squandering money implementing a policy that all of the evidence shows us does not work. It doesn't achieve what we're setting out to achieve. Instead of squandering money in that, let's invest it in what we actually know are the issues that lead to drug-related harm. So that's issues can be around housing, it can be around poverty, it can be around inequality, it can be around family issues, it can be around a whole range of issues. So it would be so much better for us as a society, invest in those services, invest the money in improving people's lives, and that is the most effective way of ending drug-related harms, not making criminals of people, which will only make things worse.
My daughter Dara, she needed treatment, compassion and care. Instead, she was criminalised and stigmatised. And while she waited for a doctor in her police cell, a Garda shamed her online. If she had been treated with the dignity and respect, she might still be here today. And one of the unseen struggles of recovery from addiction is a constant battle between what you know is true, a desire to make it out the other side, pitted against a society which views addicts, particularly women addicts, as moral hazards to be contained and controlled. Criminalisation of the drug user is a major factor in this stigma and shame which spreads itself onto the family as well as the drug user.
Well, the logic of the criminal justice system is that punishment will redirect people into behaving in lawful ways, and that's missing so much. It's totally illogical. Most of the time people with every advantage don't ever come up against this system in the first place, and the reason for that is they've no need to. It doesn't work. You can't punish people into developing a set of social skills and coping mechanisms they just don't have. A lot of people are afraid to access any kind of support because of criminalisation. Faulty logic behind the criminal justice system, which is people can choose somewhere else, they're just being perverse in not choosing the right path. And if we can put strong enough deterrence there, they will choose something better. It's for me, there's consequence in both cases. It pushes these now illegal activities underground, which only makes things more dangerous for the most vulnerable people. People are made into criminals and perpetrators when we're victims, and it don't help. It don't help people come forward and ask for help because we assume, mostly accurately, we'll be judged. It's hard to do time and not kind of internalise that you're scum, and what your employment and education opportunities look like after that, when they probably look like not a lot in the first place. But it just kind of stunts people's ability to grow or get better opportunities, socially, economically, on every level really, including just being able to believe in yourself. It takes everything away from you, and it don't even work.
What criminalisation does is it criminalises trauma, and it criminalises poverty, and it further institutionalises people. If our loved one was caught in possession, and if that loved one happened to have an addiction issue, it's never the guards that we call. It would never be a judge that we want to determine what happens to that person next. It will always be family, support, love, care, compassion, all of those things, because the criminal justice system does not reduce addiction, it does not reduce drug use, and it never has.
Well, I went to prison at a young age. I got out of prison, and when I got out, I went to get housed, and he says, sorry, you're just going to be a problem, you're antisocial. The time is just not put into you because you're just saying it's nothing but trouble, constantly trouble, you know. You see it's that problem, then the next guard will tell another guard, then he'll tell another guard, and then before you go down the road, then you're getting stopped about 20 times a day. Your dignity's took away from you, two men watching you, stripping off into your nude, where a doctor should be present, but that's not the law. They have the right, they're the guards, they have the right to do what they want. They can put you down and treat you whatever way they want to treat you, you know. Because as you're the lower class, you know, one are rich, as they say, you know, good jobs, good backgrounds of schools, all that I never had because I was never given the chance.
When you come out of prison and the support's not there, you just fall back into the cracks again, and you end up back doing the same things that you went into prison for. You come out with all the good expectations, but then when you come out, you're coming into the same routine that has never changed, that brought you back here, brought you into prison. The same ones that are being criminalised all the time is because they have the same thing that stuck to them. So when it stuck to them, it's just easier to take the same person. And like when they're in prisons, they have the same people coming in and out. They have to ask, why is it the same people that's coming in and out, and it's not different people? Why is it the same people? So that just tells you that there's something not working.
A drug charge stays with you forever, which traumatizes people even more. Drug use is based in trauma, it's self-medication because of a past trauma. Then you get arrested for drug possession, you're being taken to a police station, re-traumatized, then sent to prison, traumatized again, released into a society that traumatizes you continuously, but by not giving you a job, no housing, no prospects for the future. All in our organization in UISCE we think the same. We should try and decriminalize drug possession. It doesn't help anyone. The war on drugs, it's never gonna be won. Drugs are here to stay. We need to rethink our strategies on approach to drug use.
At this stage, criminalising people who use drugs serves absolutely no purpose. It doesn't actually deter anyone from using drugs. They're going to do it anyway. Just because somebody uses drugs does not automatically make them a bad person. So many blocks that we have instituted in our society that if somebody gets a criminal record, they're just automatically excluded from that. It becomes so much harder to actually get that. Like imagine if you had a relative in the States and you wanted to go and see them. Forget about going to the States, forget about going to Australia. If you've got a conviction for drugs, you're not doing any of that.
I was probably a week out and I got pulled by the police for a drug search, the usual. The next week, another drug search. I ended up going back on heroin because I just kept getting pulled, and I ended up going back down and getting locked back up again. Sending people to jail doesn't work. We're doing it 40 years. Hasn't worked.
The assumptions behind the criminal injustice system need to change fundamentally. How we look at other human beings who don't have the same opportunities as them what make the laws have need to change, you know?
Now is the moment, because we've had one of the most comprehensive conversations about decriminalisation in the history of the state. A conversation that started in 2017 with the bill to decriminalise, that then went on to a public consultation, that then went to a working group, that then went to a citizens' assembly, that then went on to the Committee on Drug Use. And I think it's been the most comprehensive conversation that we've ever had, so the time is most definitely now. it's important that we understand that the decriminalisation of possession, which means the decriminalisation of the individual, regardless of what substance that they may have on them, that they would not face into any sort of criminal justice system at all. We've seen how it's worked elsewhere. If we look at Portugal specifically, we had a 50% reduction in death rates. Ireland has the highest proportion of people who die daily, 2 a day, from overdose, and we know that health outcomes improve under real health-led approaches that are led specifically by what people need.
So for me, the MSIF demonstrates what we can achieve as a society when we put our minds to it. It took 10 years to get here, but it really demonstrates how progressive as a society we can be if we really want to be. When I talk to the clients who use the MSIF on a daily basis, they talk about the dignity, the respect, the compassion, the lack of judgment that they now experience. And these are people who have been really cruelly treated by society for many, many years. And to be able to come into a facility that is designed to be friendly, to be warm, to be compassionate, and to show that they are valued, that we do care about these people, and that they are as entitled to good health facilities. Because after all, the MSIF is a health facility, part of the drug treatment services that should be out there. And I hope we can go further, we can be more adventurous, we can be more courageous.
This June 26, join the Global Day of Action, demand decriminalisation of use of drugs.
Head, not handcuffs!
We have a unique opportunity to stop criminalising people for experiencing trauma. Let's work on the evidence which tells us criminalising people causes undue harm to people who use drugs, families and communities.
The Citizens' Assembly has spoken, but will the politicians listen?
Support or punish?